Welcome to the Radio Horror YouTube channel. We're here to talk about the new 20th Century Studios Disney Hulu movie Prey, which has its own like entire backstory I read about with like Warner Brothers and how this is going to be in theaters and all that stuff. We're not going to get into all of that. That's the whole like distribution thing because of the merger with Fox and everything else. But this movie was made recently. This was not made prior to the merger. This was made recently. But the concept and the idea of that at all, and the distribution behind the scenes story is kind of interesting to go check out. Pull back just a little bit. There you go. And yeah, really colorful. We're here to talk about Prey, the prequel. It is a prequel, by the way. A lot of people are like, oh no, it kickstarts a new universe. No, it's been very, very revealed why. With the blonde in front of fear. And we'll have some interesting tidbits about what's going to happen with the Predator franchise going forward. I don't think they're going to do Dutch people, but we'll see. Old man
Yes.
Dutch.
Oh no. Prey, directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who you may know from 10 Cloverfield Lane. Yes. And starring Amber Midthunder and Dakota Beavers. And Dan DeLagro as the Predator. It is an origin story of the Predator set in 1719 with the Comanche Nation in the northern Great Plains. Amber Midthunder plays Naru, a Comanche woman who is a warrior. She collects medicine and is able to apply that to people. She is many, many things, but unfortunately, since many things haven't changed in 300 years, she's also just a woman. So, you know, we can't do multiple things like hunt. And it's like, you don't need to come on a hunting party. We're not going to, unless you're going to cook. That's what one of the guys says. Yay, misogyny in this 18th century. Always great. But she's also one of the smartest people in her tribe. And she because people don't or because at least the guys don't want her to hunt with them, she just goes on her own and ends up hunting herself, where when she's out on the plains she ends up running into the Predator and many other foes that are looking after the Predator. One of the things I love so much about this film is, I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I would say possibly the entire film was filmed with natural light. I mean, it very much reminded me of The Revenant in that aspect that you have just you've got the use of fire to use as light, but mostly it was just natural light that you don't have to have artificial light. And that was beautiful. I loved the way the script was. Naru had many lines. Her brother, Tabe, who's played by Dakota Beavers, he had many lines because, I mean, he wanted her to succeed in doing all these things, but especially being a hunter. But when she didn't, I mean, he just let it out. Like, look, you tried. You didn't do it. I did. So this is, I mean, you had your chance and you kind of blew it. You're going to see many nods, or at least a few, to the original Predator, including the line, if it bleeds, we can kill it. And maybe a cigar, which I think was a little nod to, Arnold Schwarzenegger, maybe one or two. There's also a nod to, well, not a nod, I mean, a giant reference to Predator 2, where the actual pistol that is given to Danny Glover in Predator 2 by one of the old Predators is, you see that in this one, which I thought was fantastic. I also thought there was a little bit of a nod to Jurassic Park 2 when the Predator is chasing Naru and another one of the guys from the tribe across the plains. You see, it reminded me very much of when the people from Jurassic Park 2 are going through the grassland where the velociraptors are, and you can see them running, and then you can see the velociraptors, like just the trail of the grass running. I thought that was great. I think the sound design was great. I thought the direction was fantastic. The casting was perfection. Honestly, I don't even know if I have any negatives to say about this film. One, a little bit of the inaccuracy of when there's a scene where uh Naru comes upon a field of just decimated buffalo that are skinned, but then their bodies are just there.
Yeah.
Yes, that did happen. However, that happened 150 years later, because at this time, when those French fur trappers, they're going to skin, use the meat, use the flesh. They're going to utilize every aspect of those animals. The doing that, what they did with the buffalo, didn't really happen until like 100 years later, when they were doing it more for more nefarious reasons, and not just skinning the buffalo for the hides. I also I mean, there is violence against women. Like Naru gets beat up, so trigger for that. However, I am very happy that the directors and the storyline didn't go into sexual violence with her, which I was waiting for that to happen in a certain part, and I'm so glad they didn't. They didn't need to go there. It wasn't necessary, and I'm glad they didn't take it there. Uh, awesome kill scenes. It's interesting to see the Predator in this way. And another reason I'm glad the way they made the Predator look. It's 300 years from now, actually 2022, to when this is, because it's 1719. So I'm glad they didn't make the Predator look the way he would look, 250 years in the future. People evolve, creatures evolve, everything evolves. To say that, I mean, humans don't look exactly the way they looked 300 years ago. There's different ways we are in the height and jawline, different aspects of it. So I'm glad that they also added that to the Predator and made the Predator look different, including the armor and stuff like that. I will say though, if you have any horror franchise where if you call the Predator the antagonist that gets it, damn, they're not that great. There's rarely a film in the Predator franchise where the Predator actually makes it. Most of them, when you have like multiple Predators, then you've got multiple Predators dead, like a lot of glowing green blood, and they're not too. They're supposed to be ferocious warriors, but not too great. Not too great. Don't get me wrong, people die, they do a lot of kills and stuff like that, but still the Predator usually gets it in the end. It was also interesting to see the Predator not only going for the humans, but this seems like, and I would say this is a good aspect of it, showing that it is the actual, first time that a predator has been there, because it killed a number of animals that are predators, which, as the movies go on and stuff, they don't have that. And seeing this in a different climate that you normally see, because, in every other not franchise, but every other film, it's, they always talk about how hot it is and the heat gets them going. And this one, it's like in September in the Great Plains. You've got fur trappers, there's fire all around. So that was interesting to see. I think they had a really original take on a familiar character. It wasn't necessarily stealing from the concept, but just showing that, baby step of where it could be, and then where it's come now in 2022. And I just think it's brilliant. I love that it came out 35 years after the original. Not exactly on the date. I thought I read somewhere that it came exactly on the date, but it came out August 5th, and Predator came out in June of 1985, or 1987. But this is definitely, I know, going to be in probably my top 3 films of the year. It's already like blasting away records on Hulu. If you don't have Hulu, get it, watch it. I wish I could have seen this in the theater, because I think that would have been an amazing experience. But yeah, I think Dan Trachtenberg's doing a great job. I love what he did. I love the storyline again, and the characters, and love, 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 love. You don't hear me say that much on here, and giving this many compliments to a film, but believe me, I have watched this enough times. I'm trying to find some things that could be wrong, but yeah, I think they nailed it. They did a really, really good job. Chris, what do you think?
I got cats on me. Hey,
Hi.
you can't see him, but because he's black. There you can. Now you can. Now you can. Now you can. There you go. See him? He's right there. He's like the Predator. That was the whole reason I called him up here. Is the green screen has turned Sebastian into the Predator because okay, we made these jokes all over Reddit, and I thought they were very funny. I know the ones that were getting a little bit too problematic in their racism, but the the Native Americans who have never seen the light bulb, the telephone, or the French who have never seen the light bulb or the telephone can't defeat the Thing who has a spaceship and cloaking technology. I thought was just a little bit like a little just. It was like, okay, you gave the Predator still way too much technology. I get he doesn't have the plasma rifle. He's got spears. That's cool. He's got Captain America's shield, which is kind of cool. It's a spinning trash can lid thing. It literally turns into a trash can lid. That was awesome. Chicken face Predator, whatever. They evolve. You're right. That aside, every Predator is different too. I guess that's the point they're also trying to make. If you read enough Predator comic books, there's like 1,000 versions of the Predator on there. But however, this was definitely not the face people were expecting. I think they were expecting like the one that's like in this book fighting Superman. There it is. There you go. I didn't have any real problem with the movie, with the exception of again the technology just being a little of today. But the promos and the way they promote the movie has been superior, like really good. And every time you turn on Hulu, it is the first thing that pops up. And this movie's been out for 2 weeks now, which is fantastic. There's no streaming service doing that. They moved on to the next thing. And Hulu's got, I don't know what Hulu has right now. Other than What We Do in the Shadows, I'm not watching anything else. So, but they're really like every time you turn on Hulu or Disney Plus in some countries. This is playing on Disney Plus in some countries, which is hilarious to think about, that the Predator and Alien films are on Disney Plus, right there with Little Mermaid and Sleeping Beauty. it's good stuff, but better than the last Predator movie. We reviewed the last Predator movie. Yes, it is better than that. God, that's
Yes.
terrible. That was
Well,
just, I will own that, and I will not rewatch that. I'll watch Adrian Brody's film again because I didn't think that was that bad. But there's no post-credit scene to this movie. It's been out for 2 weeks. There is some cool artwork at the end, very much like the Mandalorian's end credits have artwork, which are really nice. So they're like Native American cave paintings, which are really cool to check out. And, you know, it'd be nice if those are collected like in a book or something, maybe. Or maybe if they ever put this on Blu-ray or DVD, they'll be in there as stills. That would be kind of cool. It is telling though, as soon as I saw that gun, I was doing that thing Leonardo DiCaprio does with the pointing to the screen immediately. And I was like, oh, is this movie going to end with everyone killed? Because the only way for the Predators to get that gun. Oh, so there's some telling of like, there's no word yet on sequels or anything like that. But as soon as I saw that gun, I immediately went to Predator 2 and went, oh. Best character in the movie is the dog. I don't know the dog's real name. It has a real name.
Coco.
Oh, there you go.
And
so Coco.
She was a shelter dog that they picked up a few months before the filming. And I read that the director wanted her because she actually looks like the breed of dog that they was with the people that crossed the Bering Strait, the Siberian
Cool.
Yeah, so the filmmakers are really going for authenticity, and including on that is the version of the film in Comanche. They have Comanche is spoken throughout the film, but then they have an entire film that's dubbed in Comanche with then also the fur trappers, speaking French, I wish I would have understood the fur trappers and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't think to turn on like the subtitles for the fur trapper part. but I get the gist of what they were saying based on their body language. But the beginning of the movie is in Comanche and then starts turning into English as like oh, this is a translation. Like in this and other comic books with aliens in it, like Transformers, they will say translated from Cybernese, which is like Cybertron's like native language, or Kryptonese, Kryptons, and so on. So they'll have like the weird symbols for Krypton the way Superman or Supergirl would speak, and then it will translate into English for you. That's just a cool little nerdy thing. But in this, it's like a respectful, like, okay, so they're all speaking their languages. It's just we're gonna, for the general audience, we're gonna evolve it into English. So that was a problem. An English translator or English speaking what's the word, linguist, excuse me, a linguist saw this movie with me and was like, okay, they're using way too much modern day slang and grammar every 5 minutes. And I'm like, I got that. I really got that. And like, nobody's speaking with even an accent. I was picking, I'm not a linguist and I'm a terrible writer, but I was picking on certain slangs and terms that I was like, they wouldn't quite say it like that, would they? And he's like, no, they would say it like this, and so on and so forth. And he studied like a bunch of different languages. He's one of those people that can hear a language and just start studying it and reading it and immerse himself in it, and then he knows it. I'm just like, that is a talent. I recommend this movie if you got the streaming services to watch it on. I don't know anything about a disc coming out. I mean, all the Predator films and Alien films have been put on disc. They're all owned by 20th Century Fox and 20th Century. This is the first experiment of this whole adventure into the more adult material that Disney now owns, I believe, with the exception of like whatever movie was already in the pipeline and development when they acquired Fox. But I think this is their first like big foray into it. And obviously this is giving people hope for Hulu's Alien television show, which is coming out next year. CB Cebulski was at Terrificon a couple weeks ago. He is the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, and Predator #1 came out today from Marvel. And a couple weeks ago, they had the Predator on all sorts of different covers, including oh, I don't know if it'll show up on camera. It's kind of dark. There it is. Oh, how do I get this to? That is not great. It's the Predator in the sewer hunting Spider-Man.
Okay.
Okay, it's just not going to show up on the green screen. But he said, which was really nice to hear, that when I asked him about when are we going to have Alien, Predator, Marvel Universe stuff happen in the comics, not the movies, he's like, hold on. Just hold that thought. And he made a lot of motions with his hands and was just like, there's something getting announced in 2023. And that is all I can say. And that was after I asked the question, what about like just doing a what if story? So you could have the Predator murder a bunch of Marvel characters and not have to worry about like, oh, the Predator showed up at the X-Men mansion. Everyone defeated him because they all have mutant powers. X-Men. Over and done. That would be so dumb. You throw Wolverine in the jungle with a Predator, that would be cool. Captain America, the Punisher, those type of characters that are combat soldiers. I don't want to see Spider-Man fight the Predator. That would end in like 2 seconds. Spider sense or no spider sense. Predator would figure that out very quickly. Same thing with the Alien. So Marvel editor-in-chief has confirmed there is some kind of announcement coming for 2023 for Marvel to do an Alien Predator Marvel Universe thing in the comics, not the movies. However, Disney seems to be all about continuity with stuff, so who knows? Maybe we'll get a what if episode of a cartoon series.
One thing I want to know, and now that you've mentioned that it's part of the Disney universe and all that stuff, something that I felt like was a throwback to the 80s, which growing up, watching a bunch of movies and TV shows, serial television and all that, periodic episodes and stuff like that. Something that I thought would be a much bigger danger in my life that was in this film, quicksand. So I don't know if that was a little nod to all those films and TV shows from the 80s, or maybe like, hey, Disney, you want us to put a little bit of you in there? Here you go. Because a lot of those Disney movies had quicksand. You never hear about it. You never see it. You never, nothing ever came of it after that. But yeah, I don't know if someone put like, whose idea was it to put like quicksand in almost every single movie and TV show like coming out in the 70s and 80s, but it's nice to see that they put it in this one too. That was a little throwback for all you 80s kids out there. You know what I'm talking about. That quicksand menace that was sweeping the nation. It wasn't. It was just in TVs and movies. But yeah, I mean, this is as far as you go. No more. This is it. Bless you.
Thank you.
If they make a sequel, as long as Trachtenberg and the story writers are in on it, especially Naru and anyone else who spoiler, anyone else who's still alive, there's not a lot, but as long as she's there, that's good. But
we'll get that Old Man Dutch movie that they've been teasing about for longer than the Disney acquisition.
Oh, really?
That has been a constant rumor about Arnold Schwarzenegger coming back as Old Man Dutch.
Interesting. Maybe she could somehow come back to the future. She could go back to the future and help him do something. That would be an interesting take on stuff. But you know,
I don't want time travel in my Predator movies.
I mean, there's almost everything else. But I mean, I don't know. As long as whoever made this one, everyone involved who made this one is involved in any sequels, I'm down. Again, I mean, if you guys watch these reviews, believe me, I pick these apart, and it's not my fault if I can find mistakes. You know, sometimes they're there. This one I thought was pretty spot on, fantastic, and yeah, definitely I'm going to be probably in my top 3 films. I would say possibly my top 10 of the year. I don't know. I mean, it's only August, so I can't say yet, but I would definitely say one of my top 3 horror films of the year. So I say check it out. Chris, what do you say?
Watch it on all the streaming services that you can possibly watch it on. Again, I give it all to the marketing team for actually really marketing this movie with decent trailers and really being like the event and like showing the Predator and Shadow. We don't need to do like the feet and the hand and Jason walking in the woods. You don't figure out, oh, who could it possibly be? No, we know what a Predator looks like. We know it's a Predator. Don't stop at the subterfuge. It's really cool when they show him in the shadow with the silhouette, whatever. We don't need to have his full body, but at least we're not being very coy about it. Use the cloaking technology, which is totally fine. It was kind of on and off. He was like, oh, it's gonna use up too much power. I gotta shut it off. Show and show my body parts, and that's totally fine. I really like that. The original movie, we were waiting till the end to see what the thing looked like. By the way, quick note: Dark Horse Comics and now Marvel, they might release it. There is a possible original Predator script coming out in comic book format with the Predator in his original form, which was a giant praying mantis iguana looking creature thing. I'm not even kidding. And by the way, the actor who was supposed to play the Predator was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Really? Isn't he like 5'5"? And the guy who ended up playing the Predator was like 7'2" or something.
Yes, and you look at the cast photo of this movie, the guy who plays the Predator is like this much taller than everybody else in the cast photo. He is the tallest guy. He's, I think, 6'8" or something like that, compared to everyone else who was like 5 foot. Maybe the tallest person was like 5'10". One of the males. But Naru was definitely 5'4" or something like that. I didn't look at all the height charts, but you see the cast photo. He's always off to the left or off to the right or right in the middle, and just the necks and heads come to here on him. They cast correctly, and they always have to do that with these Predator actors. They got to cast as big as the original. God rest his soul, who passed away. But check it out. Check out the rest of the videos here on the Radio Horrors YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, and comment. All that good stuff. Check out Katie on her excuse me, on her Facebook page, and we'll be back more Beast very, very, very soon.